All right, so from the looks of it, you're really diving deep into the world of econometrics and R programming.
Yeah, and it looks like you're ready to go beyond simple
Oh,
correlation.
yeah, we're talking about figuring out what causes what.
Exactly. And this course, it seems like, uses R to, like, bridge that gap, you know?
Totally, like moving beyond just, things seem related to like,
Yeah.
this is the actual driving force.
Yeah.
And I gotta say, something in the materials really caught my eye right off the bat.
Oh, yeah.
There's this New York Times piece from way back in 2009,
Okay.
and it talks about how just learning R can boost your earning potential.
Ah,
They were citing like a 20% salary bump for people who had these skills back then.
wow.
Can you imagine how much more impactful it must be like 15 years later?
I know, it's really a testament to how valuable data analysis skills are these days.
Absolutely.
This course seems like it's designed to give you that edge.
For sure.
So let's start with the foundation,
Okay.
R and R Studio.
Okay.
The materials describe them as like the brain and body of data analysis.
Gotcha. So R is like doing the heavy lifting behind the scenes.
Yeah.
And then R Studio is where we actually get to interact with it.
Exactly.
Okay, cool.
The source material also talks about setting your working directory,
Okay.
which is basically just telling R where to find your data files.
Right. So it's all about organization.
Yeah, you don't want to be like digging through folders, when you're trying to analyze data.
Absolutely.
It's like prepping your ingredients before you start cooking.
Right. Everything's got to be in its place.
Exactly.
So speaking of ingredients, the course introduces data frames.
Okay.
You can think of them like spreadsheets within R.
Okay.
This is where the magic happens.
All right.
And get this, they use practice data on diamond characteristics to illustrate all the concepts.
Oh, wow.
Diamonds.
It's sparkly.
Who doesn't love a little bit of sparkle with their data,
That's fun.
right?
What I think is really interesting is this course uses WebR,
Okay.
which allows you to actually play with the code right in the learning material.
Oh, wow.
So you can tweak parameters, see results in real time.
So it's like a built-in lab.
It's like a built-in lab for experimentation. Yeah.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah,
So no more passively reading examples. You're
Okay.
actually a participant.
exactly.
I love that.
So once you've got your data in a data frame,
Okay.
it's like exploring a new city.
Okay.
You need to know how to navigate.
Right.
So the source material covers functions like dim, head, and view.
Okay.
These are your tools for getting a feel for the data structure.
Gotcha. So dim tells you the size of the data frame.
Uh-huh.
Head gives you a sneak peek at the first few rows.
Yeah,
And view lets you see the whole thing.
the whole thing. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So these functions are like your map and compass
Okay.
for navigating this data landscape.
They like that.
But let's say you're not interested in the entire city.
Okay.
You want to focus on a specific neighborhood.
Okay.
That's where subsetting and filtering come in.
So this is where we start getting specific.
Good.
Like, if we only want to analyze diamonds under 1 carat,
Right.
the source material shows us how to do that using code.
Yeah, it's like using filters to pinpoint exactly what you need.
Ooh.
And if you want to combine multiple conditions,
Okay.
like finding diamonds that are between 1 and 2 carats,
Uh-huh.
you'll use logical operators like and or.
Right.
It's all about precision in your analysis.
Okay.
So then data manipulation.
Okay.
This is where we can really get creative.
Oh, yeah.
We can perform calculations, create new columns, even convert text data into numerical values for analysis.
Wow.
The source material gives an example of creating a price per carat column.
Okay.
You just divide total price by the carat weight.
Practical and insightful.
And don't forget, R is vectorized,
Okay.
which means you can multiply an entire column by a number without having to go through each cell individually.
Oh, wow. Imagine trying to do that in a massive spreadsheet.
Oh, it'd be so tedious.
I know.
It's like having a superpower for handling large data sets. Now, once we've manipulated our data,
Uh-huh.
we need to summarize our findings.
Right. Yeah.
So we have functions like mean, median, and SD for those quick statistical insights.
But summarizing isn't just about the numbers, though, right?
Right.
The course also emphasizes visualizing your data using functions like table and plot.
Yes.
And they even show you how to round those diamond prices before tabulating them,
Right.
just to make it easier to see the patterns.
Yeah, it's about presenting data in a way that makes sense.
Totally.
Sometimes a visual representation can tell a much more compelling story
Absolutely.
than a table of numbers.
For sure.
The course also introduces some more advanced functions like aggregate,
Okay.
which lets you group your data and then perform calculations on those groups.
Okay.
For example, calculating the average diamond price by color.
Gotcha.
And for even more control and customization, we've got loops.
Loops, all right?
Think of a loop like automating a repetitive task.
Okay.
The source material actually shows you how to replicate the results of aggregate using a for loop,
Okay.
which is a great way to solidify the concept.
So it's like learning how a car engine works before you start driving.
Yeah, that deeper understanding can be really valuable.
Absolutely.
Now let's talk about our packages.
R packages. Okay, these sound like a game changer.
Imagine a vast library of pre-built tools designed for specific tasks.
Wow.
That's what our packages
Huh?
are. You use install.packages to download a package,
Okay.
and then library to load it into your R session.
So it's like adding special features to your data analysis toolkit.
Exactly.
I like it.
And the source material uses the scales package and its alpha function as an example.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Tell me more about this alpha function.
So it allows you to control the transparency of elements in your visualizations,
Okay.
which can be really useful when you have a lot of data points that might be overlapping.
Okay.
So imagine plotting a scatter plot of diamond prices with hundreds of data points.
Mm-hmm.
Alpha can help you see the density of those points more clearly.
So it's like adding another layer of depth to your visualization,
Exactly.
allowing you to see patterns that might be hidden when everything is opaque.
Right. And this is just one small example of the power and versatility of our packages.
Wow.
There are packages for virtually any data analysis task you can imagine,
Really?
from mapping and network analysis to machine learning and text mining.
That's a lot to unpack.
Yeah.
But I'm excited to keep exploring.
Me too.
What's next on our deep dive agenda?
So are you ready to uncover some more of R's capabilities?
I am.
We're just scratching the surface with those packages.
Absolutely. And I'm particularly interested in how we can, make sense of text data in R.
Okay.
I mean, numbers one thing, but so much of the world is expressed in words.
That's true. And the source material touches on some really useful functions for text manipulation.
Okay.
Like think of grepl
Okay.
as like a built-in search function for your data.
So if we wanted to find all the diamonds with a clarity rating that included the word vary,
Yeah,
we could use grepl to scan that column.
exactly. It returns a true or false for each entry,
Right.
telling you if that search term was found.
Gotcha.
And then you can use that to create dummy variables or filter your data.
Clever. And there's gsub,
Yes, gsub.
which goes a step further.
Yeah.
It actually finds and replaces specific text.
Ah,
So we could replace abbreviations in our diamond clarity column with their full names.
exactly. It's like having a mini word processor built into R.
Okay.
Perfect for cleaning up text variables before you start your analysis.
And speaking of combining information, what about situations where you need to join text from different variables?
So,
The source material mentions a function called paste for this.
right. So let's say you have city and state in separate columns.
Okay.
You can use paste to create a new location variable,
Okay.
combining them with a comma in between.
These text manipulation tools are like having a Swiss Army knife for data.
Right.
You can slice, dice, rearrange your text variables however you need.
Yeah, exactly.
But what about dates?
Dates? Oh,
Those can be tricky to work with.
you're telling me the Lubridate package
Yeah.
is a real lifesaver
Okay.
for converting date text into a format that R can understand and analyze.
So if I have a column with dates in a format like December 11, 2024,
Yep.
Lubridate can help me transform that into something more R-friendly.
Exactly. It's essential when you're dealing with time series data or any data that involves dates.
Okay, let's circle back to summarizing data for a sec.
Okay.
We touched on aggregate,
Yes.
but I have a feeling there's more to it than meets the eye.
You're right to be curious.
Okay.
Remember how we used it to get the average diamond price by color?
Mm-hmm.
Well, aggregate isn't limited to just means.
Okay.
You can use it with a variety of functions, like
Okay.
median sum or even your own custom functions.
Oh, wow. So if we wanted to calculate the total value of diamonds by color, we could use aggregate with the sum function.
That's it.
Okay.
And by using lists within aggregate,
Okay.
you can perform multiple calculations at once.
So it's like a data analysis powerhouse.
It really is.
That's incredible.
And then when you have data for different sources that you want to combine,
Okay.
the match function is there to help.
Okay.
You can use it to merge data sets based on common variables.
Let me see if I got this straight. If I have a data set with unemployment rates by state
Okay.
and another with GDP by state,
Uh-huh.
I could use match to create a single data set with both variables.
Precisely. It's like piecing together a puzzle,
Right.
combining data fragments to create a complete picture.
All right, let's talk loops for a minute.
Okay.
I know they're like a key programming concept.
Yeah,
And the for loop specifically seems to be like a favorite in R.
it is.
But how do they actually work?
Think of a for loop as a way to automate a repetitive task.
Okay.
The source material shows you how to recreate the results of aggregate using a for loop.
Uh-huh.
It's a great way to solidify the concept.
So instead of using aggregate to get the average price for each diamond color,
Right.
we could write a for loop to go through each color and calculate the average step by step.
That's the idea. Now, while aggregate is usually more efficient,
Yeah.
understanding the logic of a for loop gives you a deeper understanding of what's happening behind the scenes.
It's like choosing to walk instead of taking the bus.
I like that.
It takes a bit longer,
Yeah.
but you get a better feel for the lay of the land.
Exactly. And once you grasp the for loop,
Okay.
you can use it for all sorts of things,
Like,
like creating your own custom functions.
hold on, custom functions.
Yes.
You mean we can actually create our own R functions from scratch?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
R have a vast library of built-in functions,
Mm-hmm.
but sometimes you need a tool that's tailored to your specific needs.
That sounds incredibly powerful,
It is.
but also a bit intimidating.
Okay.
Where do we even begin?
It's simpler than you might think.
Okay.
Imagine you want a function to calculate the average of a set of numbers.
Okay.
You would give it a name, like calculate average.
Okay, calculate average.
And then you specify the input.
Which would be a vector of numbers, right?
Exactly. And inside the function, you write the code to calculate the average,
Okay.
summing the numbers and dividing by the count.
So it's like packaging a series of calculations into a reusable tool that we can call on whenever we need it.
You got it.
Okay.
Custom functions are like building blocks for creating more sophisticated analyses.
It's amazing how R allows you to go from using pre-built tools to creating your own. It's like leveling up your data analysis skills.
And even with all these tools at your disposal,
Okay.
there might be times when you need a specific function that doesn't exist yet.
Uh-huh.
That's where R packages come to the rescue.
Ah, yes, those treasure chests of pre-built functions we talked about earlier.
Exactly. R packages are collections of functions, datasets, and documentation
Okay.
created by the R community.
So it's like a giant collaborative toolbox that's constantly evolving and expanding.
Exactly. The source material emphasizes knowing which packages correspond to which functions,
Okay.
and using only the packages you need for a particular analysis.
So it's about being organized and efficient.
Right. Not just loading every package you can find.
Gotcha.
And if you ever get an error because you haven't loaded a specific package,
Okay.
don't worry.
Okay.
Error messages are there to guide you.
Okay.
They're trying to be helpful, not scary.
Right. It's like having a built-in debugging assistant,
Yeah.
pointing out potential issues and helping you get back on track.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And speaking of guidance, the source material walks you through installing and loading packages
Okay.
using install.packages and library.
And I like how they use the scales package and its alpha function as an example.
Yeah.
It's a good reminder that packages can provide all sorts of specialized functionalities.
And if you're ever curious about a specific function within a package,
Okay.
just type a question mark followed by the function name into the console
Okay.
to access its documentation.
So if I wanted to learn more about alpha, I'd type $alpha.
Exactly. It's like having a built-in manual for every function in every package you use.
That's all.
So now I'm curious to see how all these techniques come together in like a real-world scenario.
Okay, me too.
Can you walk me through an example?
Where?
Imagine you're analyzing housing prices,
Okay.
trying to figure out what factors influence them,
Uh-huh.
and build a model to predict future prices.
Sounds like a challenging project,
It is
but a relevant one given the current housing market.
very relevant.
So where would we start?
So first you would load your data into R,
Okay.
making sure your working directory is set correctly.
Right. Then I'd use functions like dimhead and summary
Yes.
to get a sense of the data's structure and some basic descriptive statistics.
Right, and remember those visualization techniques we talked about?
Yeah.
You would create scatter plots, histograms, and box plots
Okay.
to explore the relationships between variables and identify potential outliers.
I'd also use those text manipulation functions to clean up any messy text variables like addresses or property descriptions.
Good thinking.
Yeah.
And if you had data from multiple sources, say property tax records or school ratings,
Uh-huh.
you could use Match to merge them with your housing price data.
Okay, and then I could start building my predictive model
Yes.
using techniques like linear regression or more advanced machine learning algorithms.
Exactly. And you might even create custom functions
Okay.
to automate parts of your analysis or calculate specific metrics that are relevant to your research question.
It's fascinating how all these techniques fit together like pieces of a puzzle,
It is.
allowing us to gain insights from these complex data sets.
And this is just the beginning.
Wow.
There's a whole world of data analysis and visualization techniques out there.
Really?
And R provides the tools and the flexibility to explore it all.
I'm starting to feel like a data detective,
Okay,
armed with the skills to uncover the stories hidden within data.
that's a great way to put it.
Thanks.
Data analysis is all about asking the right questions,
Uh-huh.
using the right tools,
Okay.
and weaving a compelling narrative from your findings.
And with R as our trusty sidekick, the possibilities seem endless.
They do. Speaking of possibilities, this course goes beyond just teaching the mechanics of R.
Oh, yeah?
It emphasizes understanding the logic behind the code.
You mean knowing why we choose certain functions or techniques,
Precisely.
not just how to run them?
Exactly. It's about becoming fluent in the language of data,
Okay.
understanding the nuances and reasoning behind each step of your analysis.
So it's not just about being a code monkey, it's
Yeah.
about being a data scientist,
Yes.
a critical thinker who can leverage R to gain meaningful insights from the world around us.
That's exactly what sets this course apart.
Wow.
It's not just about using R. It's about thinking like a data scientist,
Okay.
approaching data with curiosity, skepticism, and a thirst for uncovering the truth.
That's truly inspiring.
I think so too.
I'm eager to delve into the next layer of R knowledge.
All
Are you ready to continue our exploration?
right, so are you ready to dive into the visual side of things?
Oh yeah, data visualization is where those dry numbers transform into compelling stories.
Yeah, exactly. And it seems like this course really gets that.
Yeah.
It starts with the basics of plotting in R. Those fundamental functions like plot points and lines.
Okay, cool. So like plot is our starting point.
Yeah, and it emphasizes that R plotting works in layers.
Okay.
So you start with your axes, and then you add the data points, lines, labels.
So it's like building a painting.
Yeah, stroke by stroke.
I like that.
The source material actually uses visualizing Ford Escort prices as an example.
Okay.
We're talking about customizing colors, points types, axis labels, even adding legends.
And remember those tricks we talk about?
Yeah.
Using the alpha function for transparency when your plots get crowded?
Yes, and using range to make sure all your data fits nicely within the axes.
Right. It's those little details that make your visualizations really shine.
It's like the difference between a rough sketch and a polished masterpiece.
Totally. So we've covered scatter plots.
Uh-huh.
But what about other types of visualizations?
Well, this course lays the foundation for exploring all sorts of visualization techniques.
Like,
Think histograms, box plots, heat maps, even interactive visualizations.
wow, it's like opening a door to a whole new world of possibilities.
It is.
I'm starting to see how R can really become this powerful tool for communicating insights.
Yeah, it's not just about crunching numbers.
Right. It's about crafting a visual narrative that people can understand and engage with.
Exactly, and as you delve deeper into data science, don't be afraid to explore those specialized visualization packages.
Okay.
There are packages for creating interactive maps, network diagrams, 3D plots.
Really?
The R community is incredibly creative.
Wow. It's like having an entire art studio at your disposal.
It is.
You have the tools to paint any data story you can imagine.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into this intro to R and econometrics,
Okay.
what are the key takeaways for our listener?
Well, first and foremost, R is so much more than just a statistics package.
Yeah.
It's a programming language that puts you in control.
Right? It's like having a Swiss Army knife for data.
Yeah.
You've got tools for cleaning, manipulating, analyzing, and visualizing information, all in one powerful package.
And the source material does such a good job of breaking down these concepts in a way that's approachable and engaging.
Uh-huh.
Those interactive WebR components seem especially helpful for hands-on learning.
For sure.
Yeah.
Most importantly, remember that data analysis is a journey.
Okay.
There's always something new to learn, new techniques to explore, new insights to uncover.
So embrace the challenge.
Yeah.
Stay curious and never be afraid to experiment.
Exactly. Maybe you'll even create your own art packages someday
Yeah.
and contribute to this amazing community of data enthusiasts.
To our listener, dive in, have fun, and discover the power of R.
Happy coding.